Yesterday I ranted and raved about credibility. I had to go see this Wayne Witcher boy at the anger control corridor of probation. I was talking about I'm almost half a century old. Look at all that hair for half a century. Hardly any gray. And I've got experience, almost half a century of experience. I said something about credibility. I said, if people tell me my degrees don't matter, they establish themselves as zero credibility. They're nothing, and basically I ignore them. I said, I come here and go through the motions of anger control for probation to get off probation, which is over in about a month. I've had doctors and social workers and nurses say my degrees don't matter. I think somebody in the office when I was in the waiting room said Fran hit him. Fran Stouse hit me. Everybody thinks it's a big joke, huh? You're going to come back and what goes around is going to come around. It's going to hit you back harder than you've ever been hit, punks. Because you disrespected me. And when you disrespect me, you get disrespect back. What do you expect? Anyway, I told this guy, Wayne Witcher boy, about credibility and precedence. And some of my friends say my degrees don't matter. People I know, I say, well, they're the same thing as a flunk out of high school. And everybody says that to me basically doesn't have degrees as good as me, so they say it don't matter to me. So you're my so-called daddy. Credibility. I told my daddy the other day at lunch a week, 2 weeks ago, I see him sitting there saying, well, is there any way I can help you on anything? I said, yeah, I want $1 billion in legal damages against Merrill Lynch, Smith Barney, Payne Weber for every incident where I spent 1 second in jail, handcuffs, arrested for fiction. He goes, I said, one share owns Merrill Lynch, one share owns Payne Weber, one share owns a company. There's no majority owner, and if there's no majority owner, everyone's a minority owner. One share is a minority, but so is everybody else because there is no majority. He goes, uh-uh. That's why he's got zero credibility because well, first of all, he doesn't live in a $100 million house, make $1 billion a year. Punk. I don't know what he is. Never known. Back and forth. Credibility. I went to Purdue Cranard. Credibility. Why? Well, one thing was listed in business magazines, Barron's, Fortune, one of the top 5 schools in the country. It wasn't listed as top in operations because when I went in '83, they didn't break down categories. So I didn't go there for operations, dumbasses. I went there because one of the best in the country, simply as good as it gets, for me to be simply as rich as anybody in the history of America, was simply as high of a paycheck because you're no different than everybody else. Just because you don't mean you get a paycheck. Well, all those precedents made maximize stock owner value meaningless bullshit. And of course, the Llewellyn crew cut boy who taught that class of maximize stock owner value established zero credibility with me personally that the efficient market theory, you can't make money in the stock market. Don't try. Can't outperform stock market. Just be average. Waste of time. Don't try. Money managers are a waste of money. Don't try. Well, he had a good argument to justify his point of view, but in reality it was bullshit because I got common sense and experience that made it bullshit. And secondly, I work for money, and I don't work in some dirty old paper factory in dumbfuck Indiana. I work in a luxury mahogany office with 10 figures a year with the highest paycheck in America. As I stated, 96. We'll go back to the ACT score before high school diploma, faggots. 96% of the highest paycheck in America, which is about 4 or 5 billion. Now, what are those billionaires' ACT scores in Iowa basic skills? Because you can detect fraud with people who suddenly have a jump in their test scores. Go back to their Iowa basic skill score and see if they were in the top back then. See, I was always in the top. Some of these people commit fraud, and you can detect a trend that if they suddenly jump from nothing to something really good, there's probably fraud going on. This, credibility. Well, I went to Purdue. It had a reputation as an engineering numbers school, which is what I had a degree in. I was a numbers guy. I told this Wayne Witcher. Talking about Oklahoma State, one of the best academic schools in the world. There were probably national merit scholars there, and I wasn't good enough to do that because I wasn't 99 percentile in both English and math. I was almost perfect in math, maybe 90% in English, which would be an A, but not perfect, not enough, good enough to make me 99.9 overall, and I wasn't. I don't claim to be. And I said something about I went to Oklahoma State, one thing, they were going to give me an engineering scholarship. He goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, they were, punk. You don't know what you don't know shit because you're nothing. I don't know. I mean, you don't know. Get an attitude. He gets paid Medicaid money to sit there and listen to me. I did 50 push-ups yesterday in the office because I said I haven't done any push-ups for a few days. I have to do it when my stomach's in good condition. You know, I can't do it on an empty stomach, and I can't do it when my stomach's full and I get sick and cough and barf. So I said, well, why don't you figure out how long it takes me to do 50 push-ups before I start eating your candy? Because he always got a bulk candy. He said 52 seconds. He was looking at some clock with the second hand on the clock. I said, oh, 50 push-ups in 52 seconds, and I'm going to be 50 years old in a few months. Off probation May 10th, I guess, May 11th. That's about 1 month from now. He goes, well, are you going to come back? I said, no, I wouldn't. I said, well, no, I'll say, never say never, but I seriously doubt I would ever spend money out of my own pocket to come here and whatever. Medicaid's paying for this now, so you're getting paid by that. He never tells me how much money he gets paid to sit there and whatever. Credibility. Credibility. Stock owners own the company. Period. Doesn't matter you own the company. That's why. That's the crux of my motivation for getting angry and making statements like nuke Merrill Lynch Securities Commission. Because they're punk faggots who say it don't matter, I own the place. And all those precedents are why I never tried to get straight A's in college, because I didn't give a shit, because they established precedents of that bullshit starting at age 15, 16. Paycheck precedent, 4 or 5 billion a year in paycheck to somebody in this country with a business license as a hedge fund manager conduct business. Precedents of disrespecting my ownership since age 15, and then after my BS from mechanical engineering, then after my master's from Purdue Granite, locking me up saying I'm crazy. Stock owners own the company. The stock owners have a right to vote their shares for their proxy statement. You know, you can make one argument. We'll just go back to paycheck precedents. Paycheck precedents, now 4 or 5 billion in America. We'll go back to legal damages for me getting $1 billion. You know, what's the highest legal damage precedented in the history of this country for anything? These little Nazi faggots need to learn some respect. Credibility. 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 I work for money. I have to get at least $1 billion a year. $1 billion for each incident where I was thrown in jail by these little faggots at Merrill Lynch. Little faggots at Payne Weber and Smith Barney. All these little faggots around this Kansas City Stockbroker Faggot Festival. And Securities Commission Faggot Festival. Courthouse Faggot Festival. Punk. Yeah, I call you punks. You're punks. Zero credibility. Just babbling idiot. Punk. Mafia. Punk. Punk. Faggot.